Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In my 20 minutes, I intend presenting to you an understanding of how an innovative infantry small group concept inspired and transformed a new generation of infantrymen. And this will include the training as well. It could be safely stated that the tactical level of operations was dominated by small groups. This campaign was successfully waged across all levels of conflict, from the tactical areas of responsibility and theaters of combat to the forums of international diplomacy. However, ultimate success came by winning on the ground, by winning the patrol skirmishers, by contesting the LTT in the dense jungles of the north and the east, and by confronting and defeating the deadly suicide cadres. Prudent analysis of the past dictated the development of innovative concepts in which the infantry transformed into small groups, blending conventional and unconventional warfare, concepts and tactics to suit the nature and environment of the conflict. In short, small groups of light infantrymen with meager equipment, sharpened individual and team skills, and an innovative approach to counterinsurgency defeated the LTT at their own game in their own backyard. The sequence of my presentation is as shown on the slide. Before I get on to the concept proper, let's have a look at a few influencing factors. Heavy casualties suffered due to the employment of mass formations against an elusive guerrilla army. Almost 60% of the casualties suffered during the previous conflict, that was Elam 3, were due to indirect fires. The LTT's concept was to combine guerrilla warfare, positional defense, and IEDs to slow down and inflict heavy casualties by the extensive use of indirect fires. Infantry operations in massed brigade and battalion-sized echelons suffered dearly. The LTT, taking advantage of the ceasefire, built its arsenal of artillery and heavy and medium mortars. The LTT's interest to expand its indirect fire capability was apparent in the words of its leader towards the latter part of Elam 3 conflict. Preserving manpower in the view of poor recruitment. The heavy casualties suffered by the security forces and indecision of a failed military campaign resulted in poor recruitment in the period 2002 to 2005. Enhancing combat power through a mix of human skill and affordable technology. GPS and NVDs were some of the simple, affordable equipment which were used by the special infantry operation teams in executing their missions. This was specifically important in the areas of surveillance and target acquisition in order to enhance the effectiveness of the superior security force firepower. Now, when I mean effectiveness, I also mean accuracy. To develop the overall quality and competency of the infantry. The infantry had suffered miserably from the last conflict. Rapid expansion and heavy casualties had reduced the efficiency and quality of the infantry, thus highlighting the need for its overall rejuvenation. And the introduction of a suitable doctrine compatible to our environment. This was lacking. We were following the British doctrine, a pretty old one, so we needed one of our own. Having suffered heavily in loss of life and limb, from the application of a tactical doctrine suitable for conventional warfare, the infantry were thirsting for a modus operandi suitable to our environment. Ladies and gentlemen, the origins of this concept date back to year 2001. It was the latter part of the Elam conflict, to an event related to combat, in which a failed divisional operation to clear fortified LTT positions in northern Sri Lanka resulted in heavy casualties and a few missed in action. Strong control of the terrain in successive tiers of defense enabled the LTT to retain ground that day. Surprisingly, 3 soldiers, separated from their units, were able to make it back to their lines by exfiltrating easily through these successive lines of defense. This stimulated thought to the effect that infantry, trained and purpose-built, could operate in guerrilla-controlled territory. Further analysis of some of the major combat operations revealed that the employment of overwhelming mass did not guarantee success, but in fact was disadvantageous and resulted in heavy casualties. Moreover, it had negative effects on the morale of the soldier and on the long run impacted on the national will and recruitment. Hence, it was prudent that the infantry would have to transform into small groups to gain the initiative and finally defeat the LTT. Let me now take you through some of the reasons for which we developed this concept. One was to improve tactical intelligence, surveillance, and target acquisition. We found this a major drawback in Elam 3. To enhance lethality by improving the effects of the superior firepower of the security forces. To improve decision making and the application of combat power at decisive points. Now, this was a benefit from improved tactical intelligence. To reduce casualties by operating in dispersed small groups. This is one of the core reasons for developing the concept. And also a low-cost option to the employment of special operations forces. It freed the special operations forces from some of its tasks in close operations, thus enabling them to be utilized in the depth of the LTT. And last but not the least, to reduce civilian casualties by improving precision in operations. Ladies and gentlemen, the concept is as shown on the slide. I recommend reading. Special infantry operations teams were designed to defeat the LTT threat in all forms. This includes sub-conventional operations, guerrilla and counterinsurgency warfare. They were trained and organized for small group operations on the lines of guerrilla warfare, and these teams were designed to operate 4 to 5 kilometers with an endurance of 3 to 4 days, 4 to 5 kilometers from the forward lines. They were the eyes and ears of the battalion commander, and seizing an area through dominance was their modus operandi. The concept exploited the inherent nature of the infantryman born and bred in villages and possessing the same attributes as a guerrilla. Of course, less the ideology and the morals. It was observed that the infantryman too possessed similar attributes such as familiarity with jungles and rural environments, robustness to endure hardships and deprivation, and the free, uncaring attitude of operating independently. So let's have a look at how we trained and developed this force. The infantrymen for the Special Infantry Operation teams were selected from a 44-day advanced infantry platoon training which was designed to maintain the combat efficiency of the infantry platoon through the peace period. On being selected